We go 3, 2, 1. Start recording. Gab Alipe. Thank you
Yeah,
for doing this, man. Appreciate it.
thank you
And
rin.
so, how is everything there? How is everything with the whole quarantine thing? And
It's
everyone's on lockdown.
it's great. It's the best time in the world.
The it's the best time in the world. As in,
Diba?
everyone's outside. It took us parang so 3 o'clock. So we got here mga 8. So mga 3 o'clock or before 3 kami na grocery. So
Yeah,
4 or 5. So it's like 4 or 5 hours for 4 or 5 hours for grocery runs, and then everyone is outside doing their best to be outside. Ako, I
yeah,
did my, di ba, I'm doing this whole donation drive and delivering PPEs.
yeah,
There are areas na I go to that I mean there are a lot of people who are following the rules, but there
yeah.
are a lot of people who do not follow the rules. Nakaka-frustrate eh. So para ako mga Pilipino talaga, 'di ba? So
It's not just here din, pati sa even outside of the Philippines. Meron pa nga nagpo-protest eh.
oh, grabe sila. I'm like, di
Diba?
nyo ba ano ka na nangyayari? Like,
Yeah,
what's wrong with you people? I mean,
yeah,
I think, it's not just the awareness. It's people have so many sources of information na parang
yeah. And belief systems din.
belief systems.
Beliefs,
It's,
principles are in place. Diba? Iba-iba talaga yung tao eh. Dito mo
di ba?
makikita. Yeah,
I'm like, okay, ako, I see, I do my best to look at it from the point of view of both parties, like people
yeah,
who do not understand what's happening, and ayan, I get to deliver uh, help for frontliners
mm,
and doctors, and iba yung sigh of relief nila, iba yung tuwa nila kasi now they could do their jobs better,
yeah,
and some of the people I know from other countries nagwawala na sila, or parang they're growing very very worried kasi they don't know how to handle this anymore in
yeah.
terms of transmission and infected people, and they don't know na baka maya-maya lahat pala tayo meron na, 'di ba? Lahat
Yeah,
pala.
definitely. Especially with the amount of time that we also go out or when we have to go out sa mga
Mhm.
groceries. Kasi those are normally the only places that we can really go to, like bibili ng
Mhm.
pagkain. And then hindi mo din alam kung sino din pumupunta dun, whether they're
'Di ba?
infected or not. So, 50-50 lagi.
50 talaga yung 50-50 lagi
Yeah,
yung lakad mo, and I mean,
yeah,
and so you have to you do your best to do whatever you need to do. Tapos wala pagka meron talagang pasaway, wala kang magagawa doon, di ba? Di ba?
mismo.
Ang hassle eh. Yun yung
Yeah.
hassle eh.
And
So,
it's great. It's great also there are people like you that actually really go out and do their part and make donations and stuff and sa mga frontliners. But there are also other people na choose to do it from the comfort of their homes. And
oo,
as
syempre, the
long as
mere fact,
may tumutulong, that that's
that's
what's
true.
important.
Kasi the mere fact that you're staying at home, you're doing your part already.
Yeah.
Diba? Ako naman, the
Donate lang online and
oh,
stuff. So yeah, you know what I mean?
yep. Ako naman, the opportunity just came to me, and
Yeah.
then the great people of Discover Manila, like shout out Discover MNL for doing this whole thing. I mean, they're doing it at their own, alam mo yun, at their
Yeah.
own. I mean, these people are amazing. Kasi ang galing ng initiative nila, ang galing nung
Yeah.
ang ganda nung I mean, these are very very thoughtful people. I mean, the
Yeah.
team behind si Lucky, si Walter, they're very good people, very nice, and it's always an honor to work with them. So
Mm.
at least with his whole thing, we finally were able to do this, and we could talk, and we could
Mm.
swap stories, diba? So
Mm.
ako naman kasi, as much as possible, I want to make this like my online journal of sorts dun sa mga like getting to understand and digest and go through the process of individuals, of artists, of great minds, and then um, what goes through their head. So in
Mm-hmm.
a way, it will help me, and then it will help whoever's gonna watch this.
Mm-hmm.
Diba? So ako,
Hopefully.
yeah.
Especially with my story.
Diba?
Hopefully.
Diba? At least, and now we don't really have that much restrictions. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't really have any rules on my podcast, and
which is a
ito
good
lang
thing.
yun. which is,
Uh,
and I want to keep it as conversational as possible. So just if you want to talk about anything, and then yeah, we could
mm,
just tell your story. Ako naman kasi from a point of view of someone na whoever's gonna listen to this, and then from the point of view of someone who doesn't have an idea of the process
mm,
and the learnings and the overcoming challenges, at least this will
mm,
be a good resource for them. So at least ikaw, you could tell your story. Like for example, yeah, Urban Dub came from Cebu, and then from
yeah.
Cebu to Manila. Like, can you tell the story behind, yeah, the transfer from Cebu to Manila, and then what happened from there?
How many minutes do we? How many?
We can
It's
talk
20 years
however
worth.
long. We can
20
talk
years
whatever.
worth
Dude,
of
wala
kwento.
tayong
Well,
format dito kahit gaano kahaba to, kahit buong gabi tayo magkwentuhan dito.
say, well, we started 2000. Year 2000, we started the band. But I've been playing music since high school, but never really took it seriously. Never even considered myself a frontman. I was always a guitar player.
Mm-hmm.
And then around second year college, I started working. I started working as a DJ for NU 107 Cebu, and then I
Mm-hmm.
met. So I had access to music, access to local bands, and then one of the bands that heavily influenced me was a band called Glitch, and actually they got signed to a label and came to Manila, and then their drummer eventually became our drummer din sa Urban Dub, si Janjan Mendoza.
Those are.
But it was through them na parang I started dabbling in management. So I was one of their
Okay.
first managers. And when they started, when they got popular and then they got signed to a label, definitely they had to move to Manila. They eventually had a new management team na. And then I was left in Cebu thinking na, hey, maybe I can start a band as well and
Okay.
and play music. So
How was the band scene sa Cebu during the
it
like
was great.
this? Mm-hmm.
One thing about the Cebu music scene, though, hindi kami pinapansin on a national level, but
Mm-hmm.
advent din kasi yun ng ano ng digital recording.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of bands had access to finally recording their material without
Studio, ganun.
recording their material, but it was still expensive, but not as expensive as the big studios. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Because it was digital na, everything was computer based and whatnot. And there was a studio there called Backyard Project Studios where we'd hang out and record our songs. We never really went. I never really went through, even with Urban, that we never really went through the cover phase. We did a
Mm-hmm.
few shows like that, but it was mainly because we really wanted to write original material. Kasi yun din yung uso in Cebu. Everybody
Mm-hmm.
really, all the bands really wanted to come up with original material. So we grew up in that culture of wanting to. Uh, it was all about art and being creative, and like I said, with backyard projects too, all bands, different genres would converge in that studio. So we
Mm-hmm.
started learning from different artists, from different genres, from different mga philosophies, and how they approach their music, whether it's reggae, punk, metal, new
Mm-hmm.
metal, or kung ano man yan. So yun. And then around when we started, we released our first independent album, Birth, around 2001. We gained a following because we started playing the songs on local radio.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually, since it was being played on radio, Manila bands started hearing a few of our demos, a few of our songs. So when they go to Manila, they start asking about us, like, oh, sino sa Urban Dub or whoever other bands were actually making their songs heard. You know what I mean? And
And then
then
C2000 era, I mean, I don't know how, hindi pa, I mean, there was the internet, but it wasn't as big as it
no,
is now,
no,
di ba? So
it was
how was
slow.
like, it was very slow, di ba? Dial up pa nun, ano?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Diba? Pero, I mean, is there kind of, was there like a music community starting
Yeah,
back, like
yeah.
from, kasi ngayon, on a global scale, or sabihin natin sa Pilipinas, on a national scale, you have Facebook groups, you have 'di ba? You
Yeah.
have community boards eh. So back then, wala pa masyado nun, 'di ba? Wala pa.
Wala. Wala masyado. Pero yun nga, yung studio na yun, Backyard Project Studios, that's where all bands would record. So, bahay siya eh. That's why it was called
Ah,
Backyard. So, parang
okay.
it was uh, uh, an old garage of the Sir Jong Smuanya who owned the place. Kumbaga, he converted it into a studio. So, all the bands would hang out, drink, eat,
So
and
kumbaga yun, that's where it all started, kumbaga.
yeah, all stars. So even if you're not recording, you would normally just go there and hang out and
Hang
just
out.
drink. And you'll always find somebody from a different band there hanging out, and then everybody just got close. So yun na
Okay.
yun na yung parang naging community in a sense,
Mhm.
where we all learn from each other.
And then
Yeah.
to Manila, like from Cebu, what made you decide na, okay, from Cebu, I think we could grow this, we're getting notoriety. I think it's time to capture a bigger audience.
To be honest, we had no plans of making it to Manila.
Mm-hmm.
Because parang uh, para siyang suntok sa buwan eh, if you really think about it, especially
Yeah,
during that time. Plus the
that's
fact
true.
na during our time when we were starting out, we were only 3 year. We released 2 albums. We were only a 3-year old band. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
2001, and then we released another one 2003.
Mm-hmm.
So parang hindi in Manila was far from our minds or making it or anything like that. We were just happy making albums or making songs.
Mm-hmm.
And then pero yun nga, when our songs would be out, we'd release the songs. People started taking notice from Manila, and then eventually we were invited to perform our first show in Manila by Myrene Academia from Sandwich, because she was
Okay.
I think the program director for NU 107 Manila at that time. And then
Okay.
Francis Reyes,
Grabe
the guitar,
classic, no? NU
yeah,
107.
yeah, Francis Reyes from the Dawn, guitar player for the Dawn. He was one of the top DJs then in NU. He'd play our songs in the Raw.
Mm-hmm.
So, nagkaroon kami ng airplay in Manila. We got invited to Manila. We went to Manila. And then you were asking me kanina about struggles.
Mm-hmm.
Now we had to take because we didn't have any money. We didn't have any
Mm-hmm.
jobs. Lalay at that time and John Lalay, our bass player, and then John Dinopol, our guitar player, were still in college.
Mm-hmm.
I dropped out of college because I was already
Mm-hmm.
working as a DJ, or I was working odd jobs after
Mm-hmm.
that. And then our drummer Jeros, parang at that time was a I don't know what his job was, pero feeling ko tambay.
Tambay.
kasi
Professional.
kainuman ko kasi kainuman ko sa kagabi-gabi. So
Okay.
so
Creative ano siya? Creative
creative man.
wanderer.
Free spirit. Free spirit.
Spirit. Yeah.
Free spirit.
That
I
sound
think
that.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I don't recall. I don't recall. That's 20 years ago, but parang so we took our chance. We took a boat instead of a plane. We kasi cheaper to ride a boat to Manila, 24 hours, and then a boat ride, and then we even asked sponsorship dun sa boat na yun na to sponsor us.
Okay.
But yung trade-off was we have to play on the boat.
On the boat.
So we
Okay.
played in the boat without anybody watching us, while there are few people lang milling around watching. Kunwari kasi may show band yung boat eh.
Okay.
Pero
Okay.
after nung break ng show band, sige kayo yung tumugtog. So tugtog naman kami. We played a few
Ah,
covers, acoustic
kayo yung
lang.
filler. Kayo
O
yung...
kami yung filler, parang ganun. And then, kakatawa nga eh, kasi may iba natutulog sa tables, may iba kumakain ng itlog, tsaka kumakain ng mga noodles, cup noodles, while we're playing. Pero kami naman, parang,
Okay.
pay your dues.
Oo. Diba?
Right? But we're
Okay.
more excited now. You know, we've been given an opportunity to be able to represent Cebu music
Cebu.
in
Yeah.
Manila. So, and it was a big NU 107 event, and then yung lineup at that time was like all of the popular bands, kasi it was a big event eh sa um saan ba yun? Sa Marikina Riverbanks.
Mm-hmm.
Yun. It was a big event there. Slapshot played, I think Color
Slapshot.
Color It Red played. I think Queso played
Mm-hmm.
and Greyhounds. Basta it was a crazy lineup. And
Okay.
then
Parang rock fest siya, gano'n. Or
Rockfest,
music fest.
yeah. So kami naman, we knew that people in Manila were already familiar with our songs, a few of our songs that were there. So, but we didn't know that they were gonna react to us the way that they did when we started playing.
Okay.
So, medyo sumuka pa kami backstage before the event because we were so nervous.
Nervous.
Yeah, but when we started playing, parang when we got on stage, it was like, tara, let's just represent where we come from.
Mm-hmm.
So, yun. And then, yun. From there, from that point, we got nominated for Rock Awards. So we came back. Then we won Song of the Year. That was 2004. We started getting offers from labels na. And
Mm-hmm.
then
And then you ended
around
up siding with
EMI.
EMI.
EMI. That was a good one dahil we were being shopped around with different labels were asking us. But among the labels that were asking us, it was only EMI who actually flew to Cebu. Cebu City to like talk with us. We even met with the boss there, so and their label manager at the hotel. And then we were parang ano pa kasi takot kami sa labels parang
Mm.
all those label horror stories when you sign major label na parang they're gonna change your style or
Yeah.
and I've experienced that na parang we'll sign you to a label pero this particular song that you have pwedeng ganito lang yung style niyo or like can you make songs like this. And I'm like, no, if you're gonna take our songs, take all of it. Like, this is what we have, right?
Okay.
EMI was the only one. So we were being parang, total, we can stay indie naman. So parang we told them na, okay, we want to have creative freedom. We're only gonna make songs na, we make songs and then the songs that we come up with, yun lang yung i-release nyo. You don't ask us to make new ones na para hit song. You know what I mean? So it was only EMI that really, most of the labels naman said yes to that, or so we were told by our then manager. But it was only EMI na parang we were kind of medyo cool sila kasi they even went all the way to Cebu to ask us.
They went to Cebu para gawin nila yan. So it's forming a relationship kumbaga.
Yeah, na parang, uy, seryoso tong mga to sa amin. So parang, okay. So we tried our luck. So why not? If they're gonna give us what we wanted, then might as well do that. So we tried naman and eventually we moved to Manila and then from then on, yun na. We've been living here since 2005. Parang
2000. And then can you like since we're in the parang this is something I mean as much as you can recall or like yung especially if future musicians or future artists are going to watch and listen to this, like what is like the process of like someone scouted you, then someone is able to listen to your material and they have appreciation for it, then lalapit sila sa'yo. Diba? Sasabi sa, you sound good, we want to offer you a contract or we want to sign you. Like what are the guidelines or in as much as yung experience nyo with dealing with labels, like how can you really negotiate a fair deal wherein you could be yourself but at the same time be mindful of the business aspect of it, diba? I mean especially ngayon kasi with the advent of technology and information, you could release your own stuff, diba? Pero paano yung mga like how would you suggest or what would you suggest when it comes to people who want to sign with the label versus people who want to release stuff on their own?
It's hard for me, especially with the music industry changed so much already. And if a new artist would ask me what would be the best move right now is if kaya mo naman i-release yung mga songs mo all on your own with YouTube and
Spotify,
SoundCloud or SoundCloud or whatever, just do that. Total, you're gonna get a following anyway if the music is good. What an artist should really focus on is the art, not the business side of it. When it comes, when it happens, it's best to be educated about it and then do your own research. Because it varies from different artists. You know what I mean? You can go the label route or you can go the Chance the Rapper route. Na talagang
Chance the Rapper, yeah.
You know, which is I think this is the best time for an artist as a musician, because like you can pick and choose where you want to go. If you go the label route, you have to make sure na the label that you're with respects you as an artist and respects
Mhm.
what you come out with. Kumbaga, will take you for who you are, and then hindi ka niya babaguhin. Kasi depende na yun sa artist kung willing ka to compromise your art eh. If you're
Mhm.
that type of artist, then go. If you're an entertainer and you just wanna uh, sing songs by other people, kasi sometimes label would do that. If you're just really a really good singer, they'll give you producers and stuff like that. That's also a good way to express yourself. Pero
Mhm.
if you're a type of artist na you really write your songs and be with a label na will give you the creative freedom na you deserve. Parang ganun.
Mhm. And then how about telling us the story behind like from Cebu to Manila, and then now Manila and making it to Manila. Making it in Manila pala. Like,
Mm,
'di ba? Kasi sigurado may process 'yan eh. Hindi naman basta-basta
yeah,
we got nominated here. Yeah, hindi.
yeah.
Kasi 'di ba you have to talk to so many people, you have to book gigs, you have to make yourselves known, 'di ba?
Mm.
Like, well, how was that experience?
Gigs, and gigs. We just kept playing any
Mm.
gig that we could get. Walang arte. Could be the biggest gig ever, and then the next day we'll play like really small shows, small barrios. It didn't
Mm-hmm.
matter. Because in the
So it
end of the
was
day, if you're, yeah, in the end of the day, you enjoy playing music. I was lucky enough. I was with bandmates that just really enjoyed playing music. It wasn't about the fame. It wasn't about um, uh, making money. Money was
mhm.
secondary. It was really about playing music.
Okay.
So, kumbaga, everything else that came after that was just a bonus. Kasi when we came here to Manila, the first few times that we were here, we were sharing a room. We lived in we called it we lived in Sikatuna Bliss sa
Mm-hmm.
building 8 in QC. Now we called it pa nga Ghetto Minium
Get to me.
kasi para siyang building ba, pero
uh,
you know what I mean. And then we take tricycles to the venues, take
mhm.
jeeps, take buses, and
With
then
equipment to, no? With
yeah, and
equipment
then
pa. Oh.
uh, food namin was on a regular was instant noodles.
Mm-hmm.
And then we didn't have anything to cook with, so we all invested. Nag-invest
Invested.
kami na yung pang-init ng kape, yung
Yung
thermos,
yung electric pot.
electric pot na yung
Uh,
may coil. So pang coffee in the morning,
yung ano sa
may coil
ibabaw, yung
sa ilalim which was funny because when we cook naman pancit canton or noodles, you have to scrape the noodles from the coil kasi paminsan sumasabit yung mga natitira eh.
Pagka uminom ka ng kape, ang
Oh,
lasang
lasang noodles.
tubig ng
So
noodles.
nagagalit ka pag, uy pare, linisin mo naman yung after mo gamitin kasi paano ako magkakape kung
Uh, di ba?
yung ganun. And then if we have money, if we're lucky enough na we were able to get a gig that paid good,
Mm-hmm.
well enough, ayun, pizza.
Yeah.
Yun yung price namin. Pizza. Yeah.
Like the small luxuries of band
So,
life, no?
may pambili ng load to call home. Yung mga ganun. So it was a struggle. We were already a signed band. We're
Mm.
some people think that when you get signed to a major label, it's like, all right, we made it.
Right.
Yeah. No, it wasn't. Well, at least for us, it wasn't like that.
Mhm.
We really had to
Diba?
scrape.
Kasi at least now we're telling people of the process eh. Kasi yun din yung like before we started doing this, parang I started hearing stories of people who don't understand the process, or they
Yeah.
don't want to go to the process, they don't appreciate the process, they just want, 'di ba? And you can't really blame them because everything is instant gratification na ngayon eh. Like
Yeah.
you want something, with just a click of a mouse or tap on your phone, it's there. So
Mm.
all of a sudden now, people suddenly, when it comes to certain things,
Yeah.
na you really have to put in the work.
Yeah.
Medyo dun sila nagkaka-problema, and then they find struggle, and they
Yeah.
couldn't really handle the struggle and the stress that comes with the struggle.
Yeah.
So at least ngayon nakikita nila that anything good, okay,
Yeah.
comes with its own set of challenges and its own
Yeah.
set of problems. Diba?
That's
So
that's the danger lang of the new generation now because everything is easier for them in
Mm-hmm.
terms of how they can record their material. It's way easier because you can have a home studio in just like a snap of a finger. You can, if you
Yeah.
can afford it, if you can have, I know, and then it's so easy for them now to put out their material. So sometimes yun yung nagiging balance paminsan of the good and bad. Sobrang dali for you to come up with your material or release it, pero now paminsan nakakalimutan nila that there's a struggle that comes with actually promoting it. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
That's true.
So na
That's
paminsan
actually
pag
good. That's
yeah,
actually good. Diba?
na
Kasi parang
you have to humble yourself paminsan when it comes to promoting, you know. Walang pili ng gigs because as much as you can, because the point of you coming out with art is be able to reach out to people. So ano, so the only best way to do that is actually go out and perform.
and then ito lang yan. Ako personally, this is one of the reasons when the sound of urban dub was so unique in its sense na yes it belonged to a certain genre, but at the same time it was able to cross over into other things. It was able to tap to other things like it was able to tap into emotions of people. So parang how were you guys able to come up with the songs? Like what was the creative process behind it? Like from the writing to the conceptualizations. Kasi para siyang rock na may hugot eh, di ba? I mean, it was a lot of the songs were well written. Di ba? Ang ganda nung construction ng lyrics niya. It was, I mean,
Thank you.
compared to the songs during its time, and I was during that like 2000s, it's ano eh, parang iba yung lyricism ni Urban Dub compared to the other bands. That's probably, well, in my opinion, that was one of the things that set it apart from the rest, diba? Because the narrative was always, it was actually telling a story. So at least yun, what was like, for example, some of the songs that you could remember, like what was the process or what were you thinking, diba, during writing those songs?
Wait. As a songwriter, kasi parang uh, I was heavily influenced by storytellers. You have your Jeff
Mm-hmm.
Buckley's, uh, Bob Dylan, uh, even like sa mga mabibigat na mga bands, like let's say uh, Trent Reznor from Nine Inch Nails or
Mm-hmm.
maybe Chino Moreno from Deftones. Parang may kwento eh.
Mm-hmm.
May mga metaphors, they use metaphors a lot, pero in the end parang it still ties in the whole story of what they're trying to yung story ng kanta, kumbaga.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of subscribe to that. Even like sa local, like Eli Buendia is my all-time favorite.
Oh, yeah.
So parang may kwento eh, parang nakikipagkwentuhan siya sa'yo. Alam mo yun? So
Yeah.
parang I've always had that in my head. Francis M was the same, you know what I mean? So so a lot of the songs was mainly me telling a story of what we were going through. It was very collaborative when it came to that. Parang everybody in the band had their role. I wrote the song because most of I wrote the song in its basic form. I tell the story because I was, unfortunately for them, I was their frontman and I had to sing
Mm-hmm.
it. So I had to sing I had to sing something that I could relate to. So a
Yeah.
lot of the stuff I could relate to were the stories that I know.
Mm-hmm.
And then what's great about my bandmates, kumbaga, they were also storytellers but through their instruments. Kumbaga, it wasn't just a matter of putting chords for them. It was like ano yung emotion ng kanta, and they would fit the chords to yung emotion nung song, and even put even the intricate parts na parang to enhance like maybe a word in a line of the song na they put an emphasis on that note or that chord or maybe a
Mm-hmm.
hook into it para lang ma-elevate yung kanta. So basically, kahit na wala yung lyrics, wala yung kumakanta, when you hear the music, it still captures that uh, emotion.
Mm-hmm.
Kumbaga. That's what
Yeah.
that's our formula kami as a band, especially during that time. And you can only write what you know. And unfortunately, during that time, we were in our early 20s. Actually, I started writing for Urban Dub. I was 19. So most of the stuff that we wrote was bitterness and heartbreak.
Puro
being
hugot, no? Grabe, no? Parang iba rin talaga
alcoholism,
pag hugot, no?
drinking.
Heartbreak.
Yeah,
Heartbreak
kasi
make good story, make for good songs talaga.
and you'll see it naman also the progression of our albums. Like
Mhm.
from the beginning, it starts off. The first few albums was all bitterness and heartbreak, and then midway through the albums that we released, it was already dabbling more on philosophies. There's a
Mhm.
good
Yeah.
balance
There,
of
there
both
was
until we
there was an
became more
evolution.
political,
Yep.
and then up until the last album release, it was more philosophical already and esoteric.
Mhm.
Dala sa edad.
Okay. And yes, the
Yeah,
experience and then
experience. Dala
diba?
sa
And
edad.
the
Yeah,
evolution of the genres and your music as well.
yeah.
Now, when it comes to music, this is something I ask people that who have gone through the stages. I mean, what was your indicator or ano ba yung what is the turning point of shipping or when do you know when to release a song? Like for example, this song is fine, okay na to, maganda na yung hook, maganda na yung melody, maganda na yung chords, okay, release na natin siya. Record na natin, release na natin siya. Kasi a lot of people now, they're very much paralyzed by perfection na parang hindi, wait lang. Di ba?
No,
Maraming ganun eh. Kahit ako minsan may ganun ako eh. Parang before,
no.
I'll just write and then biglang iisipin ko, teka, draft ko muna to, baka meron ako maisip na bagong word or ibang pwedeng sabihin, how to narrate it. Now, when it comes to you guys and the process of from writing, creating, and then it's time to publish or release the song, like, ano ba yan? After it's done, okay, release na? Or minsan nag-hold back kayo kasi there's probably a better arrangement for it. Or may
Uh,
edit or may revisions.
no, our rule of thumb is always capture that moment, that particular moment. Capture the moment. Kumbaga
Okay.
kung ano yung moment na tapos niyo yung kanta and all members are all happy about it. So naka-bank na yun.
Mm-hmm.
If it's just a single, then ganun. Capture that moment, and if you feel that it's good, and then you feel good about it as a collective, then you release it. Pero in our case, since we grew up in an era that still made albums,
Mm-hmm.
so kailangan each song are all the songs are interconnected in a way. There's a theme. So the challenge now is which songs to release first
Yun.
in what
What
order,
order?
what kind of story are we trying to tell here, parang ganun.
Mm-hmm.
And then it boils down also na kasi it comes with it also the music videos and ano ba yung kwento, ano ba yung what are we trying to say now,
Mm-hmm.
uh, as a body of work. But now everyone's releasing singles, so yung sa akin dun, since it's single based na now, capture that moment. And if you feel na when you paminsan kasi yung artist mararamdaman mo naman talaga na okay to, and then you release it, you just have to get over that fear, and then or that anxiety na hindi magugustuhan, pero in the end of the
Mm-hmm.
day, fuck it, diba? It's
Yeah.
it's your art, diba? And
Yeah.
if people don't like it, then parang di okay, gawa uli,
Mm.
diba? And then even the best songs, the hit songs that you can come up with, when once you release it 5 years down the line, when you listen back to it, parang sana I did this, sana I did that, kasi
Yun.
you also
Yeah.
evolve as a musician, you get better at your craft, you get better in terms of your understanding about how to approach music.
Mm-hmm.
So parang when you hear it, parang ay dapat ito na lang ginawa ko, dapat ganito ganito. So
Mm-hmm.
with us, it happens na parang that's why when we have live shows, the album version is very different with the live version.
Exactly. Kasi
Yeah.
napansin ko yun eh, di ba? When I watch
Yeah.
nanonood ako ng gigs nyo, parang sabi ko, teka, parang hindi yun yung original na sound nun eh, di ba? Parang
And
it's parang siyang remastered.
it keeps it
Parang,
fresh then also for the player.
yeah.
Para you don't have to keep playing the same thing over and over again. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean?
That's true. Kasi, I mean, parang, it seems like you answered my follow-up question eh. Parang, was there ever a song that you could recall that you thought, hit to, okay to, maganda to, then you release it, tas
Na,
nag-flop?
oo,
Wala.
yun, maraming ganun.
Diba? Parang
Parang,
isip, ang
bina,
ganda nito, ang ganda ng pagkakagawa. And then, when you released it, parang, it didn't get that
yeah,
much, parang you thought it would be a hit, and then all
yeah.
of a sudden, the audience didn't really accept it that much.
And it goes both ways. You have songs na parang was written so fast na parang, okay, it's just one of those songs. And then when it was released, parang yun pa yung nag-hit. So it can
Di
go both
ba?
ways.
Kasi
It can
parang
go
ako
both
sabi ko,
ways.
okay. So at
Yeah.
least ganon. At least may ganon din kayong experiences, 'di
Yeah.
ba? Kasi a lot of yun din naman most of the people I was able to talk to right before pa lahat sila they had pieces of work that they thought was good and really
Yeah.
good that
Yeah.
wasn't really accepted by their audience.
Yeah.
And this is not just the audience that we're trying to tap. As in yung audience na nila mismo. As in
Yeah.
yung for example, there's this writer, he released a short story tapos akala niya magugustuhan ng fans niya or ng community niya, biglang all of a sudden hindi pa yun yung I mean, it didn't it bombed, 'di ba?
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden he released something that was just spontaneous na nangyari sa kanya a few weeks ago. Pag-release niya, tuwan-tuwa yung mga tao dun sa story
Yeah.
because it was so relatable daw. So I'm like, okay, at least the same goes for musicians,
But
'di ba?
you
And
can
then
never predict naman din kasi if your song is gonna be a hit or not. Kumbaga, as an artist, parang kailangan you're just happy with your work. You know what I mean? And then bahala na si Batman.
yeah, exactly. This is exactly what a lot of people, whether they want to venture into music, into sports, into whatever careers they want, is that there are certain things that are very unpredictable,
Yeah.
but you still have to put in the work. You still have to go through the work. You still have
Yeah.
to churn out work. Dahil yung iba kasi, yon, for a while, that was my problem. Buti na lang si Reese, she helped me get rid of it in the sense na you don't have to be paralyzed by perfection. I mean, if
Yeah.
it flops, it flops, it flops. If it doesn't, then, di ba, good for you. Kasi
Yeah.
kung hindi, you'll end up not releasing anything. You'll end up not doing anything.
Yeah.
Di ba? So, at least ayun, yung mga ganung bagay. And
Mm.
then, fast forward tayo, the band took a hiatus, and then how was it like going through a period of doing solo projects? Like, how was the thought process? I mean, did it allow you any kind of did it provide you some sort of freedom? Were you able to express more? What was the experience like? Like, what happened? What did it
Uh,
allow you?
the hiatus was both good and bad for us. The
Mm-hmm.
hiatus came at a time na I think all of us really needed a break because we were putting in so much work for the past 15 years
Mm-hmm.
prior to us deciding to take a break.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, we were also having personal problem, hindi naman siya problems, pero we were also all going through our own uh, uh, personal
Personal
shit.
issues.
Personal issues like in terms of like some of us are our parents na
Uh,
uh, uh, our drummer at that time also parang his wife uh, finally got a good job offer to
mm-hmm.
migrate to Australia as a nurse, a head
Okay.
nurse in Australia. So um, we didn't want to stop that also kasi that's
Mm-hmm.
a huge opportunity for him and his family. And at that time, pa they were really trying to have a kid,
Mm-hmm.
which we were happy naman na as soon they were having a heart. They've been married for a while, and then I guess the stress of work,
Uh,
stress of living here, really
took its
hindered them
toll
from
on them.
having that. But by the time that they moved to Australia, few months after, boom, they have a baby.
Mm.
So parang blessing din siya. And then Lalay was having two kids. I had my son came out, and then John at that time was also dabbling in business.
Mm-hmm.
So we were also growing, changing our how we thought about music. So parang tara pahinga muna tayo before it got to a point that we were at each other's throats or there was
Mm-hmm.
resentment. You know what I mean? Before it started feeling like it was routine, so we decided to just take a breather muna, celebrate our 15th anniversary, and then tara, break muna tayo. Which was good
Mm.
because John was able to express himself. He was able to come up with his own band and
Mm.
become the songwriter and frontman because he's a really great songwriter as well on his own. So and then with me naman, I had no plans of writing. I didn't want I didn't want to do a solo project muna. I wanted to focus on family business muna and being a dad. Pero after a while, mangangati ka din talaga eh.
Oh, yun
Yeah.
na. Diba?
Ayan.
I mean,
So,
these are, siyempre, it's years and years of physical, mental conditioning, and then
yeah.
nasanay ka yun, di ba? So,
And it was scary kasi parang, so see, the challenge was, uh, who am I as a songwriter outside of Urban Dub? If I,
exact.
if I wanted to write something, I wasn't, purposely, I didn't want to write anything na parang Urban Dub lang din. Which is,
Mm,
you know, a challenge for me dahil parang, how how will I write that's different from what I've done with my band?
mm.
So, it was scary pero parang I had a good producer, Eric Perlas, that helped me out. Yun ang importante for any artist then, have a good producer.
Yeah,
Collaborate with someone
yung
who's
iba rin
good.
naman dun, like, I like the one with the music video dun sa underpass ng Quiapo. Visions
Yeah,
ba yun? Ano ba yun?
visions. Yeah, vision.
Visions. I like
Yeah,
Visions. And then the collabs with Autotelic, that was really good.
yeah.
I like the collabs with Autotelic. Yung
Hindi alam.
y- hindi alam, and then you did Guillotine with them.
Yeah.
That was good.
Thank you.
Yung hindi alam was si hindi alam, ano yan, tawag dito, feel good music ko siya driving from training. So
Thank
pagod
you.
na ako, kailangan ng chill music, okay, hindi alam, play natin to.
It
Tapos
was
meron ako
written
isang tip,
ginawa ni ng Autotelic. They're really great, really good band.
yeah, galing. I like that. I like that band, si Autotelic. I mean, there
Mm.
are a lot of OPM bands right now. I am admittedly starting to love OPM again. Kasi for a while, they all started sounding the same, and then you
Yeah.
would go to indie band places like punta ka sa Giho, di ba? So, syempre, yung iba, pakul, pupunta sa Giho dahil pakul sila. Tapos, makikita mo, kasi when you go to the indie scene, all of a sudden they all kasi the way I understand it, 'di ba? I'm probably talking out of my ass right now. Pero
Mm.
if you go to the indie scene or you go to indie places, it's because you want to express yourself, or this is
Yeah.
the way you express your art through music.
Mm.
When you all start sounding the same, 'di ba?
Mm.
So it's either you're all hanging out together or you're copying each other's styles. 'Di
Or
ba? Kasi
listening to
parang
the same influence,
Oo,
same music.
di ba? Kasi there was a time, parang yung isang gabi na yun, parang pare-pareho yung tunog nilang lahat. So parang ako, okay, whatever. Dati, you go to these places and to other bars, alam mo, may konting distinction kahit papaano eh, di ba?
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, yan. Now, at least, ayan, I got stuck with, I mean, yan, si Mayonnaise, then, at least, ayan, si Ben and Ben came out. I mean, there are so many talented OPM artists right now. As
Sobrang
in,
dami.
sobrang dami.
And not
Nagulat ako.
just here in Manila. It's
Ay,
They're everywhere now.
everywhere.
And you can hear all of them. Like here in Manila, you have your Autotelics, you have your Ben and Ben's, Four of Spades, you have Unique, Clara Benin, you know what I mean?
Clara Benino,
Mu-
si,
Muni
ano
Muni Muni ba? Muni or Muni.
si Moira.
I like Moira's pretty good. But like you have in Cebu, you have bands like Intertwined or from Iligan, I think, Loop. Basta marami sila ngayon, and the genres are very maraming, may hip hop, there's electronic, there's folk,
Yeah.
there's, which is kind of exciting. Kaya okay lang din sa akin na parang there's a time, it's part of the process din that each generation will have that kopyahan muna sila eh.
Mhm.
But eventually you'll see who's the real ones,
Yeah.
na bigla
Yeah.
na lang,
Sila
everybody muna same ground, everybody's on the same soil, and then makita mo lang who sprouts out. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Diba? And then how do you deal with, then, was there a time that people actually, like, for example, from the band life, from the band years to your solo career down to going back, or playing again, and then ikaw, from your perspective pala, I've been wanting to ask musicians this eh. I asked them privately, pero tignan natin yun. How do you define a sellout?
Sell out?
Di ba marami mga criticism again, mga sellout na yan. O yan. So from an artist perspective or from musicians perspective, how do you like meron bang nag-comment na si Gab, hindi, URBANDUB sellout na yan, di na sila wala pa
uh,
naman.
well, we were in our early days, we were called sellouts, like even with Urban Dub. Kasi parang for us, parang they said na indie band kayo, but kayo biglang nag-major label. Because
Ayun, di ba?
major label
Like,
supposed to be
ganun.
the enemy, right?
Yeah.
But for us, kumbaga, I don't think we're selling out because hindi naman namin kinompromise yung music namin. We never changed our music. We never changed our style. For sure, we never let the label dictate what we were gonna do. You know what I mean? So parang how is that selling out? You know what I mean? Kumbaga, it depends eh. It depends on what type of... For me, a sellout is somebody who's doing something that they don't want to do. You know what I mean?
Ayun.
Yeah.
So at least
Yeah.
ayan, malinaw. Okay. Now, so from the music guy to the martial artist, how did you fit your training? Like, when did you start? Like, for example, kasi ako, I knew you, everyone knew you, and ako personally, as a fan of URBANDUB, I know you as the frontman, pero I also know you as my friend from Jiu-Jitsu. So, how did you fit Jiu-Jitsu into everything, and when did it start? How did you meet? How did you end up in our team?
Okay. I've always heard about DEFTAC since the 90s. I've always been in since I was very young. Actually, now it's kind of full circle for me because my son is 7 years old, and he loves martial arts. So parang I get to do that with him, and then I used to do that also
is good.
with my dad.
Okay.
Kasi I grew up doing martial arts, una karate do, and then when I moved, I grew up in Manila, and then karate do, and then when I went back to Cebu and was spending more time already with my dad. My dad naman grew up then with martial arts, judo and arnis through his tito and his cousins. I eventually trained with them. So tapos especially during the 80s and 90s, it was all about Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, and Karate Kid, di ba?
The action, the martial arts action films.
Di ba? It was all about martial arts. So parang then you become aware of yung mga gulo na nangyayari sa 90s. So yan, lumalabas na yung pangalan ng DEFTAC. Di ba?
Tayo dyan!
Di ba? The Sarian Pasok Days and Bakbakan International. You'd hear that from your cousin. I'd hear a lot of those stories from my older cousins. And then, yan, pare si Alvin Aguilar. So parang ever since, especially when I moved from Cebu to Manila, I've always wanted to train with DEFTAC. Parang but there was no way for me to find DEFTAC kasi all I knew about DEFTAC was it was based in Parañaque.
Yes.
I was in QC. So hindi ko alam, wala akong alam. So I eventually did boxing and Muay Thai na lang in one of these in a gym near Cubao. And then I saw na may Jiu-Jitsu. Just like everybody else, parang it started with UFC, watching the first two UFCs. And then may internet na, so I was able to watch a lot of the Gracie in action stuff.
Classic yun Gracie in action.
I even downloaded all of it, pati yung mga Greg Kukuch and Henzo Gracie videos. Wala. So I really wanted to do Jiu-Jitsu. I knew DEFTAC had a program na Jiu-Jitsu, pero Parañaque, so malayo. And it was funny kasi the gym I was training at na boxing and Muay Thai, may Jiu-Jitsu. So sabi ko, pwede ko ba subukan? I was already watching videos. Yung coach na nagturo, I remember it clearly na tinuruan niya ako ng Americana. Pero basta ito yung gawin mo. Sabi ko, anong tawag dito? Hindi, basta yan. Yan yung gawin mo. Basta yan. Basta ganyan. So, after, hindi na ako babalik dito. Never mind. Fuck it. I'm out of here. And then, through some divine providence, I had a gig in Capone's Valero, old school, Makati.
Grabe, Capone's.
Capone's, di ba?
Oo.
and
Okay.
a very very drunk Richard Lasprilla was there.
Australia.
uh, na Tapos naka-greasy baha pa siya na t-shirt with the
Oo, oo.
Tasmanian Devil.
Oo.
Tapos wala siyang sapatos.
Oo.
Nakapaalam siya. So I was like, it's the champ, URCC
Yeah,
champ.
yeah, yeah.
So I
It's
was
the dancing
introduced to him.
devil.
Yeah.
It's the dancing
Kasi
devil.
he was a reigning champ at that time.
Yeah.
So I was like, I was introduced to him and I was like, kwentuhan kami. And then sabi ko, I'm such a huge fan of yours. And then I've always wanted to train with DEFTAC. Pero putang ina, ang layo niya, nasa Paranaque ko. Sabi ko,
Paranaque.
taga saan ka ba? Taga saan ka ba? Sabi ko, QC, sa may Teachers Village. Putang ina, punta ka sa EDSA. Andun si Fritz. So I knew about Fritz because light
He was
heavyweight
also
champ.
fighting. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, light heavyweight champ. So parang, I was like, talaga, saan sa EDSA? So he told me about Park House.
Oh, DEFTAC
So,
EDSA.
DEFTAC EDSA. So that was my first. So immediately the following night, I got the number, called up Fritz, and then he said, just come down the gym and then check it out if it's something that you wanna do. Very next night, I went
Classic Park House, no?
Park House. And then ganito siya classic. When I came into the gym, Richard was there, Richard Esprilla, Alan Co was there, he was welterweight champ. Tofi Lagan was still a blue belt. Franz Altereos was there. Papi Lipitan was there.
Yun.
Fritz was there. Carl. So every
The North OG boys nandun.
so I was like, wow, this is a cool gym, and I was like, I was eager to train, and then Fritz was like, see, Fritz naman was like, his cool self. He was like, so you want to learn jiu-jitsu? So I go, yeah. Okay, sit there, watch. So I was like, okay. So my first training session was I was sitting on the couch watching all of them train for the whole night. so the next night pa ako naka-train.
It's such a DEFTAC thing to like, even kami nun sa South. It's like that was the first. Oh, you want to do this? Okay, sit down there. Not gonna like, oh, sit down there. You watch. Like, talaga, tas ang first training mo talaga is the following day, di ba?
First training following day, and I remember it. I remember it because my first role was Tofi Ilagan.
Yeah. Di ba?
So if anybody who's experienced rolling with Tofi knows, he will smash you.
It's a valuable, heavy learning experience.
Yeah. And he was blue belt pa na, hindi the smooth black belt that he is now.
And this was a time na he was a competitive blue belt. He was a blue belt.
Yeah.
Diba? He was actively competing.
Yeah.
And that led to him leading the way for the creation of Project Lifestyle Manila na.
Yeah.
And then from there, okay. So there's just from first training, then now you're a brown belt. Diba? Now you're a brown belt. And how was that journey? Like, how was that journey from, sabihin na natin, alisin na natin white belt years, kasi white belt years, ano yan eh, sponging years mo yan eh.
Yeah.
From blue belt, sige, let's segment it per belt. So from blue belt to purple, blue to purple, given how life gets in the way, how you had to fit in, hindi nga fit in eh, you had to sneak in training, naalala ko eh, kasi you had to sneak in training because of your busy schedule, and we only get to see each other, it's either pag mag-URCC, pag merong event, or pag may tournament, di ba? Then during that time, you were so busy. How did you cope, or how did you deal with, kasi especially now, masyadong critical si blue belt. A lot of people quit at blue belt because
I wanted to quit at blue belt.
Why?
To be honest, my only goal at that time was to get to blue belt. That was it. That was my only goal, to get to blue belt. Pero eventually, parang when the bug hits you, it becomes jiu-jitsu becomes a part of you, and then parang yun na, tinuloy-tuloy ko na lang. You know what I mean? Kumbaga, all I wanted to achieve in jiu-jitsu was to be able to hang with the guys in the gym. Kumbaga, to be able to roll with them na hindi naman ako mukhang kulelat. That was it. Because a lot of the other guys like sila Raymond Varilla or sila Tofi and all the guys I rolled with, gagaling eh. So parang for me lang, as long as I can just hang with them,
Like give them
Kasi
a hard time and then
or
hold
just
your
give them a
own.
challenge, give them naman na hindi sila mabobore na ka-roll ako. That
Mm-hmm.
was my only goal because for me music talaga yung una eh. So
Mm-hmm.
all my focus talaga was my band, and then jiu-jitsu was something na I could do for myself for in terms of fitness and health na I don't have to lift weights because I hate
Mm-hmm.
lifting weights.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't play basketball for shit because I'm
Mm-hmm.
short. So jiu-jitsu was the best
Uh,
alternative. Now you can actually roll, you can spar 100% without getting brain damage.
yeah, that's true. That
You know
is
what I mean?
true. That is true.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
people listening,
Yeah,
100%.
you
And
can
then
roll 100% without, pero you get broken bones. So a lot. there,
if you
if you
don't
do,
tap, you get injured, diba? Kasi
yeah,
yun eh. I thought this was gonna be a little bit easier now, but apparently with the popularity of jiu-jitsu and people
yeah,
are getting to it more, na-realize ng mga tao cool na siya. The transition from white belt to blue belt was it's a lot easier. I mean, for me personally, it's a lot easier because everyone's
now,
eager. Yeah, now.
yeah, now, yeah,
Kasi for example, me when I teach classes like white belts to blue belts, the transition is easy kasi you just feed them, feed them, feed them. They'll accept, accept, accept. And then if they get beaten down, ang daling sabihin, hindi, white belt lang kasi ako eh. Diba?
yeah,
But now, for some weird reason, once people get their blue belts, from blue belt to purple belt, it becomes a lot harder, or the challenge is there because at blue belt, you're good enough to beat white belts, but not really good enough to to challenge purple and brown belts. Yun
yeah,
eh. So medyo kaya mataas yung mortality rate ni blue belt kasi you're at that mental state wherein akala mo magaling ka na pero turns out hindi pa pala or may kulang pa pala.
yeah,
And for some, that was the end goal. Diba? That was the end
yeah,
goal. So at least ikaw, you were able to segmentize training, and at least ayan, you said you were doing it for yourself.
yeah,
It was your me time, kumbaga.
yeah. It was something I could do na art related, but
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have to share it with my bandmates. You know what I mean? It was for
Exactly.
me. You know what I mean?
And then how was I mean, if we're, I mean, the more or less, yeah. I hope we could put this into context of people who are not jujitsu guys yet or jujitsu people yet. How was expressing yourself through jujitsu compared to expressing yourself through music?
I think it's related. The way I play is also the same way parang the more I've been training jiu-jitsu, parang the personality that I have also comes out in how I play. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? Kumbaga how I express myself through my music, parang it kind of mirrors how I also play sa jiu-jitsu. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Kasi
So
ako,
parang yeah.
that's what I tell people. Parang you will sooner or later, if not sooner, you will express yourself in the most honest possible way. You're gonna
Yeah.
express yourself in all honesty when it comes to jujitsu. Kasi nga,
Yeah.
di ba, that old jujitsu cliche na the mats don't lie
Yeah.
or di ba, you're gonna expose yourself to yourself
Sobra.
when you do jujitsu. So
Sobra.
so yun yung pinaka I mean, for me, that's by far the best definition of how to describe, or the best way I could define and describe jujitsu to people who don't understand it.
And
Diba?
it's a good
Kasi,
ego check. Jiu-jitsu is the best ego check, especially in my line of work. Na parang
mhm,
it's easy to get lost, especially if you get to a certain point in your career. Na parang sometimes you get lost in it. Na parang
mhm,
you start believing your hype, your own ano, and then it takes a toll on you sometimes. Na parang ano na kasi ikaw si ganyan ganyan ganyan.
mhm,
But when I step into that match, wala.
mhm.
You're kakainin ka ng buhay ng mga teammates mo, and they're like, okay, you ain't shit, dude. You know what I mean? So it's a grounding experience. That's why I love jiu-jitsu so much, dahil it keeps you grounded, it keeps your ego in check. Na parang ito yung realidad. You know, hinahawakan ka, what are you gonna do now?
Exactly. Oh
Diba?
my God. At least, yeah, at least we get to talk about it. Kasi I mean, like for in your point of view, or how would you answer this in such a way na, kasi it's so hard to, what do you think is the reason why jiu-jitsu hasn't blown up in this country the way it has with other countries? Like for example, I go to other Asian countries, jiu-jitsu is so big there. As in, hindi, sige, sabihin natin OA yung so big. Pero you go to a gym and there are like 200, 300 students. Parang ako, okay, but hindi ganito sa Pilipinas. Diba? What do you think is the reason, or is it something social or cultural in
Uh, Basketball. Because basketball is still heavily
yeah.
ingrained. It's still the number one sport in our country. So,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? But I think, sometimes siguro things happen uh, naturally. So, especially now that it's so easy to access YouTube videos about
Yeah.
jiu-jitsu, and then with UFC popularity, the popularity of UFC is getting bigger and bigger. Siguro
Yeah.
kung umabot tayo sa point na we actually have a homegrown UFC champion,
That is
and
probably
then
that's
if we
true.
have that, kumbaga it will open people's, if we have like a Manny Pacquiao level in the UFC
Mm-hmm.
type of fighter, and then people will start getting to notice the ground game more,
Mm-hmm.
or be more interested in aspects of MMA like jiu-jitsu or wrestling and stuff like that, and baka lumaki, mas lumaki pa. Pero right now it's really big. For me, it's big, because we came from
Mm-hmm.
a generation that the only video that you could actually watch was Arte Suave. The Arte Suave na mga
Suabe na documentary, di ba?
documentary nila Marcelo
Tapos,
Garcia.
kailangan pumuntang Green Hills.
Kailangan mo
O
ng Green
kaya,
Hills, di ba?
saan nga ba yung ano nga ba yung, nakalimutan ko na tuloy kung ano yung store na yon. Kung saan ka bibili ng mga downloaded na
Yeah, yeah. All
CD,
those,
di ba?
di ba?
Kaya,
Arte Suave
kasi,
1, Arte Suave 2. Mas okay pa dun yung
exactly.
first one. Tapos may mga bikini girls pa na pang...
Oo.
may bikini girls na pang cut between fighters.
Pangkat mo, oo,
Uh,
pangkat mo siya. Parang yun yung
afro.
commercial mo.
Laki
Oo,
ng afro ni Marcelo Garcia. Laki pa yung
talaga,
afro niya.
di ba?
Sa mga stuff. But now, when you click on YouTube, ang
It's there.
daming mga ang dami ng mga iba-ibang things that you can watch. Different
Kasi
documentaries.
the basketball thing is very good. It's a
Yeah.
very good answer. Ako rin, I really believe that we just put too much coverage on. I mean, I love basketball. I play basketball. Pero yun nga parang we need more. Ako, and it's not just jiu-jitsu. I wish we could cover more sports. At least ngayon nakikita natin si volleyball. Medyo may coverage na si volleyball. Si volleyball, mataas na yung following ni volleyball ngayon. 'Di ba? Pero
So,
ano nga yun kasi the reason why I asked you that, dahil, ito yun I did a self-defense seminar sa UP Diliman.
mhm.
Okay? This was recent.
Yeah.
Before the, siguro several months before the whole COVID thing happened. It was mga second year college people.
Mhm.
So, it was around 40, kasi org thing siya. It was an org thing. So people were coming in and out. Pero the average or the range was between 40 to 60 people. So these
Mhm.
were like college students. And so I did a self-defense seminar there. And then I said, okay, anybody here who knows what jiu-jitsu is? Walang nagtaas ng kamay.
Mhm.
I'm like, okay. So sabi ko, how about MMA? Sabi ko, anybody here who knows or has heard about MMA? Merong 7 nagtaas ng kamay. So, 4 na lalaki, 3 babae.
Mhm.
So tinanong ko, okay, what is your, how do you know MMA? And then the guy said Conor McGregor, and the girl said Ronda Rousey.
Oh, well, yeah.
Sabi ko, so I I medyo nagkaroon ako ng confusion during that time kasi parang okay, when I thought the roaming around or being in the martial arts scene, I thought na okay, nakikita ko sa tournaments ang dami nang sumasali,
Yeah.
ang daming nanonood na ng MMA events. Mas marami pa palang, that was an eye opener for me, to be honest, na ang dami pa palang walang alam. So parang
Yeah.
sabi ko seriously, sabi ko walang joke you've never heard of the word jiu-jitsu. Lahat sila, what is that? And these are college students.
Yeah.
So parang ako, Okay. So,
Untapped market.
di ba? Untapped market talaga siya. Sabi
Diba?
ko,
Which is good.
di ba? And when I said self-defense, it was, uh, alam mo yun, so I don't understand. Sabi ko, anong pinapanood nyo? Sabi ko, syempre, it was all the K-pop stuff and the
Yeah.
K-dramas and the Netflix shows. Sabi
Hmm.
ko, okay. Pero I'm like for example, you watch John Wick. Sabi ko, you see the things that he was doing that. That was jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Sabi ko, ganun pala yun. Pati yung may kutsilyo. Sabi ko, oo, may part dun. Sabi ko, you go watch Altered Carbon, the stuff that he was doing there, that's jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it gave me a perspective na just when we thought na it's not, that it's growing,
Yeah.
but there are a lot more, like sobrang dami pa palang hindi alam to.
Yeah.
And for me to realize na okay, sa ibang bansa ang daming black belts. Dito sa Pilipinas, like we're 105 million Filipinos and there are only like 50 black belts in the Philippines.
Yeah.
There's so much room for growth. There's so much room for growth.
Yeah,
And
but consider where we're at now since 2006 when we only had one black belt, right?
exactly.
So,
Diba?
diba,
Exactly.
and
It's
it's
steady growth.
a steady growth which I'm happy about naman because like syempre like you also want to see the sport na you love na parang it
Mhm.
gets bigger and bigger and then hopefully we'll get to a point where um magkaroon ng industry because that's a whole new way for us to parang express ourselves, diba?
That is true.
Mas
That
maraming
is true.
manood, more ways na people can be more creative. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? Which is nice because now you see like a lot of local brands popping out that make
Yeah, that's
gis
true.
and so parang nakakainganyo din and it's nice to be part of seeing the growth, di ba?
Mhm.
And, well,
And
that's
then
just my perspective at least.
and yeah, that's true. As
Yeah.
in, especially now, people like the new breed of students that with the new teammates that we're getting, the new students that are enrolling. A lot of them now think of it as their stress relief activity.
Yeah.
Diba? It's ikaw, how about you? Was this, aside from being a stress relief, does this, like going through the trainings and the things that you learn during training, does it help you through how you process things? Like
Yes.
how has martial arts training in general helped you process things from handling problems to solving life decisions or handling people, communicating?
Um, but ayun, as cliche as it may sound, it gives you a certain level of self-confidence, di ba?
Mm-hmm.
But it also keeps your ego in check. And then before when I started, ang sole motivation then was to learn self-defense.
Mm-hmm.
But now that as I grow older, now that I'm a dad, ang motivation is to learn the art so I can pass it on to my kid, which is happening now. So
That
parang
is that is
so
awesome, man.
nakaka it changes then as you go along your journey.
Mhm.
Parang it changes, and then so it keeps you level-headed in that sense. So stress relief, it's something that for me at least personally, parang it's something I can do outside of yung character that I've built for myself
Mhm.
in my career.
Mhm.
Kumbaga, kung sino ako, kilala ako as Urban Dub. When I step into the gym, like that's just me being me in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Kumbaga, there's a separation ba, so I can take a breather from who I'm supposed to be in other people's eyes, and I can just be myself here. Parang
Mhm.
ganun.
So it was like a really good form of release.
Yeah.
It was a good grounding experience.
Mm.
Like at least it gave you a sense of belongingness and community and
Yeah.
diba? I mean a lot of the things na a lot hindi naman a lot, parang majority of people that are enrolling now, or at least in the academies that I handle, a lot of them are very appreciative of the people. I
Mm.
mean, this is something that I want to share as much as in I'm not really promoting jiu-jitsu as jiu-jitsu na eh. Parang I'm more of
Community.
sharing the community. Like
Yeah.
you have amazing people here. You have good people in here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it fosters that goodness. It fosters that positivity.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's carrying everyone right now. Like
Yeah.
at least ako, I could say with our team, diba? We all have chapter na chat groups, everyone's communicating, everyone's talking, everyone
Yeah.
nagkukulitan pa rin. So at least
Yeah.
they don't feel alone. They don't feel na we're in as much as we are all inside, we don't feel isolated.
Yeah.
So we don't
Lalo na
feel
sa DEFTAC. Pag DEFTAC, makukulit.
Oo, 'di ba? Makukulit lahat ng tao kaya nga parang at least it helps everyone get through.
Yeah, yeah,
'Di
yeah.
ba? Doon ko nakikita kasi I like for example, I go to certain meetings like ngayon everyone's talking through technology parang people who are living alone in their condos they're struggling a bit or
Yeah.
they're lonely. Basically
Yeah.
that's it, lonely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pero at least napapansin ko the people in our team that are living in that are living alone in their condos, they're not as lonely,
Yeah.
if not all. Kasi nga, all they have to do is be connected through communication. And
Yeah.
so far, yung mga chat rooms that I am involved with, sobrang active siya. As in,
Yeah.
may nagpapadala ng kung ano-anong memes, anong
Yeah.
nakakatawang. I
Yeah.
mean, especially during times like this, importante siya.
Yeah.
It's a small thing, but I mean, it's important, especially to these people. And how about you? Have you realized anything? Or anong realizations mo with this whole pandemic thing happen?
It doesn't matter who you are. Nobody's, parang even all the jobs that we thought were cool, in just one snap, everything is can be taken away from you.
Alam mo, totoo yan. Parang
You know what I
na-realize
mean?
ko, like, all of a sudden, okay, this job doesn't matter naman pala. Okay,
This
that
that
one,
job doesn't
hindi,
matter. You know what I mean?
hindi naman pala, ano yan, or it's not as relevant, di
Yeah,
ba?
you're if you think you're famous, it's just an illusion because like you can't do anything. You know what I mean? Kumbaga, parang uh, eye opener talaga yung nangyari din now that everybody's like forced to stay home and like really parang look inwards na
Mhm,
parang what matters most ba in the end it's family, 'di ba?
mhm.
Kasama mo pamilya mo, everybody's trying to stay safe, and then you want to make sure that you keep your family safe, and then yung day to day, how are you going to survive now na walang trabaho, or there's no income coming in, and it's all cash out,
Mhm.
cash out, cash out, because
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
you know what I
Parang,
mean,
ano siya eh, parang priorities have shifted,
shifted and changed.
diba?
uh
And like, okay, ako, like, to be honest, like the first week I was like, okay, people are still going out, I'm still
mm,
going to work,
yeah.
diba? Then biglang, I remember when there was a notice na baka mag-lockdown na, nandun
Mm,
pa nga lang tayo sa usapan na yun, I just had this urge to to kasi we were all scattered in the ano eh. So parang sabi ko, teka, kailangan ko sunduin yung so I told my brother, bro, sabi ko, Jake, uwi ka kagad. Then everyone, let's all go home.
mm,
Picked up my mom, and then I was like, I think magla-lockdown na. And then all of a sudden, buti na lang pala ginawa namin yun kasi
yeah.
nag-announce sila they're gonna close borders.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
shit. So I'm like, okay, good thing we did this. And then now you see that the change in priorities of people. Nakikita mo ngayon what are their points of view talaga? How do they perceive
Yeah.
this whole event?
Yeah.
Um, so mo makikita hanggang saan ba yung patience mo talaga? Ano ba
To,
yung up to what point are you gonna allow certain things? So it's I don't
it,
know. How do we Ikaw, what do you think? Like after this, what is gonna be? Kasi ako, I tweeted this a while ago. I refuse to say that this is the new normal. Kasi it's like conditioning your brain na parang okay, wala na. We're not gonna be going out anymore as much.
yeah.
'Di ba? There isn't gonna be we're not gonna hug as much. We have to maintain a certain level of distance. Parang ako, and everyone kasi is saying it from media to
Mm,
social media posts. I'm like, this is the new normal. This is the new
yeah.
normal. I'm like, no. I'm like, this is not the new normal. This is human adaptation.
Yeah.
Well, we're adapting to what's happening, but when you say that this is the new normal, you're gonna carry it over after they lift this whole quarantine thing. So I'm like, I mean, ikaw, do you share the same thing, or do you think that there will be a shift?
Uh, but I can only speak for myself, di ba?
Mm-mm.
Kasi I don't know how other people will react, especially if ever ma-lift ang quarantine or ang lockdown.
Mm-mm.
Hopefully it does, and
Mm-hmm.
hopefully soon. Pero for me, it's more parang a better understanding or more a better appreciation on being outside or outdoors,
Mm-hmm.
and not well, not saying. Siguro if I start playing again, kumbaga, it will have a though I've always appreciated when I get a chance to perform and play with, and the audience is watching and they respond well. Pero I think it's gonna be even more heightened now more
Mm-hmm.
than ever. Dahil for the longest time, that's uh yung personality ko and who I am as a person was tied to that. Eh.
Mm-hmm.
So nawala yun for how long has it been, di ba? So once it comes back, mas ma-appreciate ko yun na mas lalo. And then on the flip side, parang I'm doing this job because like I want to earn, because now the appreciation for taking my family somewhere outdoors.
Mm.
Yung more trips, more time
More
spent with family,
adventures.
more adventures na, because before it was always just work, 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 work.
Mm-hmm.
Kasi kailangan natin to, kailangan natin. Pero yung time
Okay.
na parang na-realize mo rin na kailangan din na to breathe in the fresh air.
Yeah.
Have those quality times na kayo lang, na
Mm-hmm.
walang halong problema sa bahay or problema
Uh-huh.
sa trabaho, walang you know have more time like that rather than just work, 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 work. You know what I mean?
And that is the most predominant na tawag dito? Opinion with regards to ako na naman, I could only speak for myself and our teammates na parang when all this is over, let's all go on a trip. Or parang
Yeah,
yun din yung ano nila eh, parang a lot of the family guys na parang I'm gonna take my family out on a trip or we'll go to the
exactly, ganun.
beach. Kasi
Mm.
parang it's not because they were inside the house too long, but the main consensus was why did it take for something like this to happen before we appreciated
Yeah.
the opportunity to go somewhere else, diba?
Mm.
Kasi ako, even us here in our family, I go like, diba, like we're I mean, we're fine, diba? We're fine, we're
Yeah,
okay. Pero when this is all over, diba,
yeah,
that beach trip we've always planned on
yeah,
shelving kasi we had to do this work thing. Let's
yeah.
just do it. Let's just do it.
Yeah, and it
Yeah.
puts you in a it puts you more, it gets you more focused now. Na
Mm-hmm.
ano bang yung in actually reaching certain goals. Like if your goal is to take your family out on trips, now mas na focus mo na kasi yun talaga kasi dapat ang nangyayari. You know what I mean? Na
Mm.
you have that quality time now. So when you work, it's not because you're trying to achieve something to be famous or to
Mm-hmm.
whatnot, pero yung end goal na talaga is yung time, and yung time na you can spend with your family doing something that's productive, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If
Okay.
that makes sense, if it makes
We're
sense.
let's wrap this up, brother. Okay,
Sige,
now
brother.
any brands you want to plug, your pages. Are you
uh
managing artists now?
yes, Nemesis Music Group, yeah, we handle Urban Dub, Fast Pitch. They're a really great band. They have and then Autotelic, they have a new single out, Ikaw. And then Fast Pitch is currently writing their new album. And then Urban Dub, matatanda pa rin kami. uh, JB, we're celebrating our 20th year. We're supposed to be celebrating our 20th year in the industry this
Mm-hmm.
year. Pero
That is
lockdown eh.
amazing.
Wala eh.
The post
Lockdown.
quarantine tayo to, post lockdown.
Lahat ng plinano namin to celebrate 20 years talagang erase
Pero
eh. So,
pero grabe yun like so many events, so many
tanggal. Tanggal lahat.
tanggal,
Tanggal
diba?
lahat. And
Yeah.
then what else? JB Music Philippines. I want to they're our long time sponsor, and then check out their pages, and then Simeon Athletics.
Simian Athletics, yes.
Yeah, and yun. That's it.
That's it, bro. Thank you so
Thank you,
much for
brother.
doing this, brother. Thank you so much
Salamat.
for doing this. And that is what Coach Franco says. Bye-bye. Okay, I'm gonna stop. Coach Franco Says would like to thank our partners for making this episode happen. Knots and Crosses. For your gi, no gi, MMA, and streetwear, order your items on their Facebook and Instagram pages. I Want Coffee. For delicious locally sourced beans for your daily brew. Order yours now on their Facebook and Instagram pages, spelled AWON Coffee. I'd like to thank Gatorade because nothing beats Gatorade. Now for the best jiu-jitsu training out there, check out DEFTAC Rockwell, DEFTAC Makati, and if you're over here in the South, try out DEFTAC Better Living. Book your classes on their Facebook and Instagram pages. Check out the best and the latest news about the local martial arts scene here in the Philippines. Visit Local MMA on Facebook and listen to one of my favorite podcasts out there, Destroyer MNL. So, till the next one, guys. See ya.